Hi and welcome to Miranda Made. For this video, I thought I should show you another PDF book I got on Etsy. But this book is called Pattern Design: How to Create Smart Vintage Apparel by Learning to Create Your Own Patterns by Harriet Pepin from 1942, which will enable you to design your own patterns to make basically whatever kind of a blouse or dress you want. And so it's really exciting and a little bit beyond my skill level, which makes it maybe even more exciting. Never mind Coco, he's quite impatient to go outside. But yeah, so what is this book? And maybe you've seen it before, or maybe you've thought, I'd like to make my own patterns. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. So let's take a look at it a little bit closer. Sorry about the cat.
Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
So here is the book in its PDF version. I did not print out the entirety yet, but I want to give you kind of an idea of what's in here. And I'm going to list the contents of this book on the screen, because my only main criticism of this book is there is no table of contents, and that's just not user friendly. So I went ahead and made a table of contents, and it's going to be here on this screen, so you can take a look at that just a second. Okay, so that gave you kind of an idea of what exactly is inside this book. And we're just going to look at a couple things today in case this is a resource you want to add to your libraries. So as you can see, it's made by Harriet Pepin in 1942, so it gives you kind of old school type of vibe. But it looks like somebody has perhaps retyped the book. I'm not sure, because honestly this font does not look like it was printed on a typewriter. But the good thing about this is it's easy to read. So some of the older books that have just been photocopied, sometimes the font is a little tricky to read because, you know, you're relying on whatever preservation has happened. But anyway, it goes through like what equipment that you're going to want to have in order to make your own patterns, and talks about, you know, using a model. And it does specify, which I underlined, if you have a fitted foundation block pattern, then you don't have to have a model form, because model forms are not cheap. And so if this is like your hobby, I would say maybe eventually invest in one that is to your specific size, but it's not absolutely necessary compared to like draping. If you're draping your pattern, yeah, you're gonna have to have a model form. Okay, and then it goes through some like principles of pattern making here, and routine procedure, definitions, and then it talks about like the waistline control block, that kind of thing, and darts and things like that, and just the process of making practice, and then to your completed block form. And it's really neat how once you have this basic sloper created, then you're able to make all sorts of different designs. And it also talks about making a muslin proof, and then, you know, looking for mistakes and things like that. And then it shows like different darts and dart adjustments, and basically how darts can really change the appearance of your design. You can add multiple darts and that sort of thing, which we don't see a lot of today, but I think would be fun to design clothes that way. I don't know why maybe because they're more complicated, but they're not as common today. Okay, and so it just shows you like several different types of designs that you can do, and it does help you design your own sloper further out. So it gives you lots of different options that you can see are all kind of 1940s style. And it really shows you how, yeah, you can completely change your blouse to be whatever you want. And then it has several pages on different designs like that and how you get them, and it even shows you like pictorially what you need to do with your pattern in order to get these designs. And so that's kind of chapter 1, and then chapter 2 really talks about making that sloper, and it's going to give you how to do that to make it completely fit you, and talk about all of the different measurements, how to do those accurately, and different types of measurements and how they relate to the sloper and why they're important, and definitions, and then it really shows you how to do that. So this is kind of my goal for the next part of my furthering my skills is I want to make my own sloper that fits perfectly. So yeah, it goes through all of that, how to take measurements properly, and then it also talks about like if you have more weight, how that's going to affect the sloper and just the angle of things, which I think is very helpful, because that could be why different blouses fit you differently and fit people differently. Okay, and so basically that's kind of like the first, I would say, third to half of the book. And then let me show you, do a flip through of the rest of the book. Okay, so the rest of it is, you're looking at my computer screen. I hope you can see it well enough, because this is quite a lengthy book. It has 190 pages, so I didn't want to print it all the way all at once. But as you can see, starting from chapter 3, we're going through some hip length patterns, which were probably more common in the 1940s, but perhaps that can interest you too, and it can also be updated in how that affects like the hip length sloper, and then using multiple dark tucks, variations of French lining, sleeve patterns. It really goes into detail on how to do that, and how drafting the perfect sleeve actually is quite challenging, because you have the most rotation and movement that happens in the sleeve. I'm sure we've all tried different blouses where and jackets where the pattern simply wasn't perfected, because maybe you could move your arms one way but another way was constricting. I've noticed that even with some patterns I've made, the movement was maybe a bit limited. So this can be a helpful resource in how to perfect that. And it just has some really great diagrams and information. And then it talks about completing your personal sleeve sloper, so you can really take all the measurements that are needed to find the perfect sleeve for yourself. And then the semi-fitted coat sleeve, peasant type sleeve, sleeves with cuffs, leg of mutton variations, circular cut novelty sleeves, variations of cowl sleeves, adapting patterns. So chapter 5, we go into adapting patterns, and yeah, so you can take what you already have and then make it work for other things as well, like the raglan shoulder, the strap shoulder. It just shows you quite a wide variety of things that you can do. And then we even have some information about ties, scarves, bows, and attaching collars. So there's just a wealth of information. You could take quite a while going through this book, but it's such a great resource, I think, to add. And even if you just slowly work through it over time, tuxedo closing, isn't that great? You're going to learn a lot from this, and it's such a great price. And then, yay, the collarless necklines, which I really love. These always look really good on me. All of these are super flattering, I think. cuffs and skirts. It goes into like making all the different kinds of skirts, thinking about the different angles and movements that are going to happen in those. And, you know, your circle skirt. Just a plethora of information. Different patterns. You can get really fancy with some of the designs. Adding pleats, things like that. Draped skirts. And then it goes into slacks, shorts, and even bathing suits. So, which pants are really tough to fit because everybody's body is so different. Some people have a larger derriere, some people smaller, some people wide hips, some people narrow hips, slim legs versus thicker legs. It's very difficult. Okay, and it even looks like it has some information on slips and things like that, or and even brassieres. Obviously there's more of the vintage design, but I'm sure some of the techniques will relate to modern day as well. Hostess gowns and then coats. This is really helpful. Just even checking any of the sections about whatever you're currently working on. Combination fitting, silhouettes, and then this is it. This is the complete book.
So much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that little flip through of a 1940s book of how to make your own pattern design, and I put the link in the description if you're interested in picking up that resource. This is not a promotional video. I don't make any money off of that. I just wanted to share a good find that I had. So if you're interested, go ahead and follow the link and you can pick that up for yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.